Yep.
Recording is set. Again, starting this meeting at 7:05 p.m. Town Board meeting of Monday, February 8th. Now, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You were all standing, while we were all standing, Michael Richardson came online.
Yes, I see.
Yes, thank you. Welcome, Michael. Okay, I'd like to ask Maria May to read the agenda items, and then we'll take public comment only on agenda items. So Maria, if you would please go ahead.
Sure, I'm sharing them in the screen. Okay. So the agenda items, number one, police contract, which we will be going for a little while to executive session. The fire department memo of understanding, the board of assessment review planning and zoning board member appointments, and the New York State local retirement system standard workday, which is being tabled. There will be two presentations. The Watchtower representative to propose assistance with the dirt pile remediation, and the plein air art and concert and town event by the POR committee. And the minutes, supervisor updates, vouchers and stuff, etc.
So we'll do that at the end. Thank you, Maria. So real quick, the agenda items again on the police contract. We are going to start out in executive session. I promise that it'll be 10 minutes or less, and then we will come back into public session and share a vote on that agenda item. So any public comment on these agenda items or questions, we'd like to take those now. Probably easiest to do it in the chat. If you would have any questions in the chat, I'm checking the chat right now.
We'll monitor the chat if you guys want me to.
Thank you. Of course. So again, since the PBA contract is it, excuse me 1 second. The PBA contract, just so you know, this conversation will explore topics under negotiation with the Tuxedo PBA and the Teamsters local, and thus needs to be reviewed in executive session. I am asking the discussion be limited to 10 minutes to minimize the interruption of this public meeting. So I apologize, but we have our consultant and our attorney advising the town board on this matter, and we wanted to do that as quickly as possible to minimize cost to the town under consultant review. So we're going to take a 10-minute executive session. I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the PBA contract. Do I have a second?
Second, Michelle.
Seconded by Michelle Lindsay. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Myself, Ken English, aye. Michelle Lindsay.
Aye.
Maria May.
Aye.
Jay Reichgott.
Aye.
And Councilperson Dave McMillan.
Aye.
Okay, I promise you it is now 7:09. We expect to be back by 7:20.
Okay, I'm going to press start breakout sessions. I think you guys just need to press join. Okay.
I don't see the join feature yet.
She'll figure it out when we don't join her.
Dave McMillan, is there anything you could do to get us over there? Or did he get there already?
I think Dave and she are the only ones there.
Oh my goodness. No. I'll call
Okay, one host.
How come?
it. We don't know. We never see. I do not see the blue button for us, so I'm not sure why.
Okay, try, thank you, Ned. Try if you go to
Breakout sessions, but my name.
join okay, go to breakout sessions at the top and then say join breakout session.
It's not like it
It's
doesn't
not.
let us do that.
It's
No?
not.
No.
She's
At the
gotta
bottom, right
reassign.
next to the off button, there's those 3 buttons. Sometimes it shows up there, but it's not there now either.
No.
Okay. Mhm. I'm gonna, I don't know what, how come it didn't work?
I think maybe you and Dave need to exit and then reform it.
All right, I'll tell Dave. Dave did do it. I mean, he was able to do it.
I'm in Never Land now.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know
you're
where
still with us, Howard. We didn't get assigned yet.
But I don't see you.
Oh,
Okay, let's start over again.
See you.
Enable breakout. Oh, okay.
I think, don't you assign first before you enable? I'm
But I did. Okay. I clicked everybody. Okay, 8. Now, move to session? No, new breakout session.
I don't see the blue button for us yet. That's usually the indicator that we're ready. Okay, now I have it.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll be back in 10 minutes, I promise. Maybe less.
Don't hurry on my account. What trouble can we get into while we're waiting for them? Hey, Mary Gratzer, did you ever get
Yes, Sue.
Did you ever get a shot?
I haven't yet, but I just got the call today and I'm going on Wednesday
Great. Where are you going to?
to St. Anthony's in Warwick,
Oh, great. Okay. Good, good.
which was the original place I was supposed to go, and
I
then
know.
they canceled me.
Right.
So
Okay.
they've been very good about keeping in touch.
That's good.
And
So you didn't have the
promising
need.
to call
You
me,
didn't
to
feel
call
the
me when
need.
they could.
You didn't feel the need to get on any other lists and stuff like that.
Well, I got myself on Steve's list, and
Right.
I'll do something about taking myself off of that list when I've actually been to Warwick, you know.
That's what I decided. I'm going on Thursday to White Plains, and I felt after I come home, then I'll get off all the lists, the other lists that I'm on.
Yeah, no, I stopped after I put myself on Steve's list. I called like once a week or so to St. Anthony's, and they were very patient with me.
Good.
When I would call and telling me, what they knew and not being angry. So I can't say enough good things about
That's nice.
how nice they've been. And here's hoping they'll be every bit as nice when I get there and they stab my arm.
Right.
I don't know yet. I asked when the lady called me which which dose it's going to be. I mean, is it Pfizer? Is it Moderna? What, what is it? She didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know which
So,
one I'm getting either.
so I
Not that
guess
we have choices.
no, or that it really matters. But I just I wanted to know so I could read up on the possible stuff, But I
Is anybody else on the call eligible and got or on a list? Or did everybody else disappear?
I got mine. I got mine at Javits.
Ah, okay.
It was seamless.
It
And they
looked
gave-
like Javits opened up today.
I was at Javits last week where I
Mhm.
got mine, and it was Pfizer,
Okay.
but it was seamless. They had the military there, and it was very orderly. It was in and out, no hassle, and a lot of material to read. So you'll get all the information you want.
Right. Well, that's what Sue Hayward told me about. She had both of her shots at White Plains, and she was there, I guess, on Friday, and the National Guard met her as she got out of her car in the parking lot and told her where to go, and she was in and out.
Exactly. Same thing at Javits. They usher you through the whole process. It was very, very, very seamless.
Mhm.
And I feel like just blasting the what is it, the song Freedom, Richie Havens. That's how I feel.
That's even before you got your second shot?
Yeah, even before I got my second, but I'm going to put it on my phone, and when I get my second shot, I'm going to play it for everybody there.
I hear you have to wait for 28 days after your second shot.
No, 10. It's 10 from everything I read.
I will ask when we go, but I heard today from a very reliable source, 28 days.
Well, I heard it's the first one, you're 80% until you get the second one. And after the second one, it's 10 more days till you're really in good shape.
But we still have to wear our masks, so.
Well, yeah, I have no problem with that. But the idea that I can go out and not feel as though that I'm going to contract it and then give it to somebody, to me, is the biggest relief.
Did you see that message that I sent you and Karen about calling Burton?
Yeah, I did. I didn't get a chance to do it. I've been somewhat overwhelmed with the snowstorm and the presentation I'm doing tonight, so I didn't get a chance.
Okay, when the two of you didn't respond back, I called his office today. So
Okay.
you don't have to.
I don't think Karen's getting everybody's emails,
Oh, okay.
but she's getting a puppy. She could be out of town.
Okay. Hey, Lynn, you on a list? And Kelly? Good. So is Ginny on here? Is Ginny on via phone? Oh, there's Ginny. Okay.
Ginny's here.
Oh, and Elise. Okay.
I don't see Linda though. Ackerman.
Oh, Elise, will you thank Tom for meeting with those kids?
I will, yes. He thought he didn't realize what was being expected of him, and he said, really, I only had like an hour of stuff for them to do.
Well, it sounded like he had to teach them how to use all kinds of equipment.
That's what he said. So that's good that they could learn about that. So that was good. Yeah.
Hey, Lynn, try Javits if you want to go into the city. About an hour ago, they seemed to have some openings. So is that somebody typing or somebody chewing dinner?
I'm typing.
Okay. Hey, Andy Barish, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while.
I'm fine.
Good. Were you able to get a shot, Andy?
Say that again?
Were you able to get a vaccine?
No, I wasn't.
Do you have someone helping you try to get it?
Oh, I don't. Where can you get it?
Okay, I'll email you, because if you call the Department of Aging in Orange County, they'll put
Yes.
you on Steve Newhouse's list to get it in Goshen,
Okay.
okay? And they're there to help people, particularly people who, don't have an easy time getting through on the computer and phones and stuff like that. So
Who
they're
are you?
What? That's Sue Sure.
Oh, shoot, Sue.
Right.
I can't get connected to the town board meeting.
No,
You're on the town board meeting. What happened, Andy, is they went into executive session. And so they're in one chat room and we're in another chat room waiting for them to finish. They said they were going to be 10 minutes, 15 minutes ago. So we're all waiting for them. We're hanging out.
You at the town hall?
No, we're hanging out. It's called a breakout room. And
Whereabouts?
the WebEx allows you to create breakout rooms to let one
Oh,
group of
okay.
people be in one place and another group of people be in another place. And they call it breakout
Okay.
rooms. So we're all hanging out, waiting for them to finish their executive session, talking about the police contract. And then
Yeah.
when they're finished, then we'll come back and all be there.
Oh, okay.
So in the meantime,
I
we just
can't-
seem. What?
I can't connect.
No, you stay where you
no
are.
one can.
We hear you. We're all in the same
Oh,
place. As
Oh,
soon
okay.
as they're finished,
They'll
they'll
be
press a
back.
button and we'll all get back there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so just hang out with us and tell us what's new, since we're all just sitting here with nothing to do. Except
Well,
talk
my
about where
senior
we got our
citizens-
vaccines. Go
My
ahead.
senior citizens haven't had any meetings or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
And we can't go to the town hall, so we're having no meetings. We're having no trips, having nothing.
Right. Do enough people have computers that if somebody helped you all set up a Zoom meeting, that you would want to have a meeting on Zoom like this or WebEx like this?
I don't know. I have no idea. Some people do, some people don't.
Uh-huh. Do you think we want to try?
What?
Do you think you might want to try? We can help you figure out how to do it.
Well, it's a possibility. I don't know.
Okay. Hey, Jenny. Can the library help? Maybe Jenny's not there. Well, I'll talk to people and get in touch with you. Should I get in touch with you or with Dot?
With me.
Okay. I'll look around to see who might be able to help you guys.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. It's been a long time since you haven't been able to have a meeting.
Yes.
Are there any people in that group who are very isolated and have nobody to talk to or no family to talk to?
I don't really think there's anybody that's
Okay.
completely isolated. Am I still connected to the town?
What? We're all still waiting?
Sue, are they back?
Are they back?
No, they're not. I don't see anybody.
I can hear talking though now,
Oh,
but it's kind of like it's a distance.
yeah, I heard that too. I thought maybe it was someone who wasn't muted and it was something in their house. They'll probably
Oh.
realize that none of us are there.
Well, I'm not sure they'd care if I was there or not. So
You and me, kid.
Have we been cut off?
Not that we could tell.
there's Michelle.
I'm
back.
Oh, here we are. Okay, Andy, if you see them.
We had only 10 minutes of meeting, but we also had 10 minutes of technical difficulties, which is why it took longer than expected, and we apologize.
No, we
Surprise!
figured you went to a bar or something and just let us be.
I'm not allowed to go to a bar until I get a shot in the arm, and that looks like maybe May. So
Well, we helped people negotiate where to go get vaccines, so that's what we did with our time.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to end the executive session at 7:35 p.m. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Maria. May I take a quick vote? Ken English, aye. Michelle Lindsay,
Aye.
Maria May,
Aye.
Dave McMillan,
Aye.
Jay Reichcott.
all right.
Okay, so we're now back in public session. I don't think I have to make a motion regarding that, do I? No, okay. Okay, I want to update you. I don't know if somebody can mute.
Ken, excuse me,
Yes.
I just need to mute everybody to get the background noise out,
you.
and then you will have to unmute yourself. I'm sorry. Hold on.
No worries, thank you.
Okay, now you should be able to unmute yourself.
I am, thank you so much. Okay, thank you for your patience. As Jay pointed out, we had about 10 or 11 minutes of conversation and about 9 minutes or plus of technical challenges, but I'd like to highlight for you what our conversation was about. The negotiating committee for the town of Tuxedo, which is myself, Michelle Lindsay, town attorney Howard Prater, and labor consultant Michael Richardson, have been meeting with the Tuxedo PBA and their union representatives from the Teamsters Union. We had the goals of, most importantly, bringing back the A line, which is the overnight 11 to 7 shift that's been understaffed over the past few years. We wanted to hire new officers to fill those lines and downplay the use of overtime, to bring back, to hire 2 new officers as the town budget could accommodate, not immediately. We wanted to create a career path for new officers, spreading the career track from the current 6 years to a 10-year path, and to find control over costs over the long run by creating that 10-year career path, and also with some negotiated changes to the benefits packages for new officers. We feel that the town accomplished all of these goals in a tentative agreement that we will be presenting to the public at a later date. Tonight, we are looking to accept the tentative agreement as a town board and pass a resolution that states that, so that we could then represent this to the union, hopefully for a final agreement on this contract. The union has indicated some resistance to that, but it's essential that the town board formally recognize this tentative agreement so that we can move this deal forward. I'd like to turn the floor over briefly to Howard Prater to comment on that. Howard, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think you've captured it accurately, and I would just like to take the liberty of proposing a resolution for you to consider, and that would be a motion to ratify the tentative agreement and to authorize the supervisor to sign the same.
I'd like to make that motion as Howard just articulated. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it, Michelle.
I'll second it. I'll accept Councilperson McMillan's second on that. We're going to take a roll call vote. I'll start with you, Michelle, Deputy Supervisor.
Aye.
Oh, sorry. I did want to just open it up to any discussion if any town board member had any comment.
Just thanks for all the hard work on this. I think it's very meaningful going forward, and I think it's a win for everyone in Tuxedo, including the police, citizens, and government. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, I will begin that roll call vote again. I'll start with Deputy Supervisor Lindsay.
Aye.
Councilperson Maria May.
Aye.
Councilperson Jay Reichkant,
Aye.
Councilperson Dave McMillan,
Aye.
and myself, Supervisor Ken English, aye. And I do want to thank Michelle and Howard and Michael for the hard work. This started back in August. I thought we had very successful negotiations, and again, I believe the town has if this deal is ratified, I think we'll have a very strong contract to move forward with our police for decades to come. And that was a big impetus behind this deal. So I think we're there. We have it signed. We'll go back to, thank you, Michael, again, for your excellent work on this. And I'll be speaking with you probably tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah, if I may, I just wanted to give a shout out to Michael. The work he did to shepherd these discussions to what we believe to be a successful conclusion was really extraordinarily well done.
I second that, Michael. Thank you so much.
Me too, and thank you for educating us as well, especially those of us that are new doing this. Your explanations and your education of us was I thought was really helpful. So thank you.
And we have thank you to everyone for hard work, to Michael and Carolyn Kelly. I hear from Elsie Glover Fuller. Glover Fuller, thank you. We need the night shift. Thank you. That's our goal. Trying to restore our police 24/7, reducing overtime and bringing in committed full-time employees at a reasonable cost to the town. So thank you. All right, let's move the agenda forward now. Michelle, could you read what agenda item number 2 is, please?
It's a discussion of the memo of understanding with the fire department. So everybody has the draft.
Could somebody bring that up on the screen, please? Does somebody have that
try.
handy? Share it with everyone.
Okay.
It's the one I sent you this afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to get, hide email. Okay, there we go. There it is. Should we just, Howard, what would be the best way to go through this? To read it or? No, you're muted, Howard.
Well, the best, the town board members should take a minute to read it. I don't think you need to read it aloud for everybody. You have it on the screen so people can look at it, but this is really for discussion purposes at this point. Once the town board has satisfied itself that it covers all of the items that you believe are necessary based upon your current understanding of what the goals are, if you approve this, then I would suggest we take this to the fire district and sit down with them and go over it and see if it meets their needs and make sure that we're all on the same page.
Should we approve this as a tentative agreement, or do we should bring it just to the fire department and then work out a final?
Yeah, I mean, this basically is, this is your proposal in response to that little memo of bullet points that they sent us.
Right.
So we've tried to capture what we believe they need in this, but I would just get a consensus that, yeah, this is a proposal that we think accomplishes the goal. Let's see what they think about it.
Okay.
I wouldn't adopt it in any way tonight. I would just authorize its presentation.
So just to give a little background on this, of course, we want to support the operations of the Tuxedo Joint Fire Districts and give them a place to practice and train. It just required us to have a formal agreement, a memorandum of understanding with them, and that's the purpose of this. So, so that there's clarity in what the arrangement is, and that's what this is about, to ensure the environmental protection of the location, to make sure that the automobiles that are used to practice there don't cause any damage to the environment, and to make sure that the property is well maintained. Those are the main goals that we have here, and I think this agreement accomplishes that. So I know this has been circulated to some degree with the town board, and that's what this is about. Over.
Yeah, so I think we've captured the concerns of the various board members, but is there anything else the board members would like to bring up about this right now?
Just can you explain what the therefore clause is? What is $10?
I guess that's a legal thing we have to do. Howard?
Yeah, we could put $1 if you prefer.
I'm not understanding what that provision therefore is what I'm asking, Howard.
Oh, because this is an agreement. An agreement requires consideration. And a consideration is usually in the form of some money. Here, you're giving them a benefit by allowing them to use town-owned property for a purpose that they have a need for. That type of agreement usually requires some consideration flowing both ways. They're getting a benefit, and so you're getting a benefit. Under this draft, the benefit you're getting is $10.
All right, so it's the main instrument of the document.
Yes.
Right. It's the one-time rental payment for this unending lease, right?
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but it's not a lease because it's a license, and the nature of a license is that it's revocable at any time.
Right. Sorry, that was my
Yep.
regular person use of the word lease, not my lawyer person use of the word lease.
Okay.
So here are the, let's see. I'm just going through to see if I can get the second page up. So these are the what we're asking.
The first ones were mostly to protect the site. Number 12 about lighting and not disturbing any nearby residents or even creating unnecessary lighting on Route 17. 13, that the town doesn't have a responsibility to maintain the property, mowing and those kind of things, and snow removal. That we're not providing any services under number 14. Number 15, that the fire districts must obtain any prerequisite permit and other approvals that may be legally necessary to use the premises as described. The termination in 16 has an indefinite term commencing upon execution by both parties and terminating when either party elects to terminate by 30 days written notice. 17, the town specifically reserves the rights to terminate this should the town have other use for the property or have concerns regarding the safe use of the facility. On termination, number 18, fire district shall restore the property to its pre-existing natural state by removing all materials and improvements therefrom. Further, the fire district shall be responsible for providing to the town an environmental assessment of the site sufficient to establish no environmental contamination has occurred. Any remediation shall be paid for by the fire district. 19, fire district shall post and maintain a restoration bond in the amount of $25,000 to cover the cost of restoring the property upon termination of this agreement. And the bond shall be in the form approved by the attorney for the town. 20, this writing constitutes the entire agreement between the parties. And 21 amendments, this agreement may be amended by written agreements subscribed by both parties.
I'm just going to assume that this goes to the Board of Fire Commissioners for approval.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Do we have any indemnification language in this? Sorry, Howard, you're on mute if you were trying to say something.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
My question?
Yes.
Sorry. Fighting fires is an inherently dangerous business. And do we have any indemnification if a firefighter, trips and whatever? I mean, if there's can the town be sued if somebody gets hurt practicing firefighting on town land?
That's a very good question. I think you'd be covered under your insurance, but I will double check that.
Yeah, I think
Please.
obviously we would prefer that they be covered under their insurance.
Exactly. What I'd like to see as part of this memorandum is that they assume the risks for their inherently risky vocation.
Training. Yep.
Yeah, I think I have something in there about that, but I will double check and make sure we have something that covers that concern.
There's as far as environmental, I still haven't been able to get an answer as to whether the millings that were put down, which contain asphalt and therefore petroleum, if cars are burned on top of millings, does that release petroleum into the ground? I mean, what we are asking for here is item 4, which is, broken up stone and stone dust, which seems to me a better barrier for environmental purposes. I don't know if any.
Could you scroll down to so we can see the first 11 items?
Sure. Absolutely.
To address your question, Michelle.
Yeah.
Asphalt is not very volatile stuff. It is it's tar. So yes, it will soften up if you heat it, and it might flow downward a little bit, but it's not like, leaking oil tank oil. It's not nearly so mobile as that.
So we're asking for item 4, but which is, the broken stone and stone dust. But they've put down, I understand, millings. So I don't know what we want to say about that.
Could you just let us
We
see
could-
the complete number 10, please? Because I think that's the one you're really referring to.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Sorry, I can't see the complete number 10, which is the item that most of reflects what you're discussing. Thank
Can you see it now?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
So as you're pointing out, this number 10 reads, the parking area shall be leveled, covered with a membrane, and surfaced with item 4 to accommodate parking for up to 10 cars during the training exercise. I'd like to also point out that doesn't mean that the entire field needs to be at that capacity. I mean, this is just the area where they would be burning these cars. So it's a very small part of the field. And as Howard and I were discussing earlier today, we will have a map of the area that marks out where this particular burning of the cars would occur. Howard, how did you refer to that as the not only site map?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I provided in number 3 for there to be attached to this a site plan, a map of the property that shows exactly where things are going to be. It doesn't have to be in a formal fashion of a site plan that's an engineered drawing, but we need something that gives us an idea of how much of the property are they using, where is it going to be located on the property, et cetera. So that's what I contemplated by having a plan attached, Schedule A, something that shows us what it is they in fact are going to do there.
And part of this is to show cooperation with the fire district. I mean, we know that there would be an expense in preparing that area. And so we're not looking for them to put a membrane under the entire 40 acres or whatever the site in totality is. It's just under this area that the cars would be burned in, where there would be any chance of environmental seepage, or however you would describe it.
What is, sorry.
Those training sites use a concrete base for burning fires. So maybe it just is in the plan, we require a 20 by 15 foot, base of concrete for the operations only, not for the entire storage.
That makes sense.
I think a couple of things. First, what's this membrane everybody keeps talking about?
I don't know. I don't.
So I feel like we're over specifying a number of things here. We told them that we want item number 4 on top of a membrane, but we don't know what the membrane is. We might actually want a concrete pad. I think we should adjust this language to say that they will provide a plan for how they're going to protect against the environmental impacts of their activities.
Yes.
Just like we would do with any other person trying to do something like this. Instead of us telling them what to do, let them tell us what they want to do, and we can approve it.
So why doesn't that go to the planning board then as a site plan approval?
Might be a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm concerned about, there are a number of these items are actions that's going to happen. Somebody's going to do a site plan. Somebody's going to put down some kind of surface. Somebody's going to provide a gate and locks, and it doesn't specify who those parties are. We think it's them, but this document doesn't say that.
Well, yes, it does. It says we don't do anything.
Where does it say that? We're not providing any services.
Does number 2 cover it?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I think that, I don't know. If you say it does, but I think that it saves a lot of confusion if, item 3, the license area is to be shown on a plan to be provided by, because do you know where everything's going to go? I don't. We're asking them to tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't know what they're contemplating.
Right. So I think that those, granted, I've spent all day arguing, in my day job, I've spent all day arguing with people today over who was supposed to do what. So I'm a little sensitive, but.
May I speak? I also have a concern based on all of the issues that we've had with the highway yard environmental issue or whatever, that I am not as comfortable saying, oh, when they're ready to leave, we're going to see if it's okay. I wish that there was some sort of mechanism, and I get it. Like, I don't think our fire department is on purpose going to do something, to hurt the land, but laws change and practices change over time, and people are used to doing things in certain ways. And I wish that there was some accountability, like some sort of, not just like when they leave, we're going to check this out, but like once a year or once every 6 months or something like that, so that, we don't wait till whatever it is time that they decide not to use the site, or that we ask them not to use the site, to find that there's, oil leaking on the ground or whatever. So I would be more comfortable if we had something like that, or at least discuss with them some sort of, check-in, maybe, Rob Dolbaum or somebody in town, have a yearly or bi-yearly check-in or something to make sure that,
So may I suggest, building off what you're saying, the town reserves the right to inspect the property at any time?
Yeah.
And that would be the building inspector.
Yes. Yeah, the building inspector. Yeah.
He's also a fireman, so I'm certainly he'll keep an eye on it. But I like your idea. I think we need to have some sort of maybe more like quarterly inspections.
Honestly, it's almost because we all do stuff out of practice that later on has turned out to be environmentally detrimental to our homes or our land, whatever. So I just want to make sure that we're not surprised at the end by a huge bill to have to fix stuff that was done by accident, really.
No, I think that's absolutely worth including. And it sounds like we have some refinements that Howard will author into this agreement. And anything else we want to add? Because we're not taking action on this right now.
We tried to be preventative in this, saying that the fire trucks need to be maintained so as not to leak engine fluids, that no fire suppressants, foams, or other chemicals may be used on the premises, that all all cars that they bring in to practice on have to be drained of all fluids. So we tried, but as you're saying, Maria, sometimes there's things you don't think of ahead of time, or
yeah, and like Jay said, I'm a Jay on this. I mean, Howard, I know what you mean by, in a blanket term, we're not liable for any of the things in here contractually through this document, but I still think we need some sort of indemnification in there for the merit of any costs of remediation if any of our specifications fail to be heeded by the fire company.
but we have the bond, right?
Got the bond, but I mean, so that's good. That's $25,000, right? Some of this stuff gets expensive, as you well know. So what happens if it eclipses that? Why should the town bite that, out of the taxpayers? We should make it clear that they're liable. I get the bond. Is the bond enough? I don't know.
No, and that's why in number 2, in paragraph number 2, it includes the fact that any expenses of the town in connection with their use of the property shall be borne by them.
Okay, so there's your blanket coverage right there. Yeah. And that maybe we need to make it say which up to and including any monetary expenses that need to be made to remediate. In other words, they're digging it up with the shovels themselves, is what I'm saying. If we don't tie them into something like that. So Ken, you're right. We need to review it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we made a lot of headway here, and we're very close.
Can I just
go ahead, Howard? Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make a suggestion before we get too far down this path. I don't know if anybody has really sat down with the fire department to discuss any of this. Have they?
Well,
Michelle and I had a conversation with Gardner Hempel, and so yeah, I think we have enough here to continue that conversation, and hopefully that's what we can authorize here today, just a continuation of this conversation. Is that what you're proposing, Howard?
Yeah, because I'm working towards a final document should be something that's done
mutually,
collaboratively with them, so that we know that we're on the same page. Because if they won't agree to what we've got here already, making this any more difficult for them isn't. We need to know sooner rather than later that we're on the right track. That's all I'm saying.
And we want to be cooperative. We want this to work, so.
Yeah, I mean, we started out by asking them what their needs were, so we knew where to start, and then took into account the concerns of the board members, and and now we're at this stage where we have this draft agreement. And now, if everybody's ready, or Howard adds a few things that were discussed tonight, now we can go back and meet with them and discuss it.
Okay, yeah.
We can invite whoever their representative is to come talk to the town board as well at a subsequent meeting. So, Michelle, since you and I started the conversation with Gardner, we could go back with this revised proposal. And
Okay. Yeah, so as soon as Howard adds a few things, you know, this week, we can send it over and set up a time to discuss it.
I don't want to
Good,
throw
yeah.
a wrench into this, Howard, but is there any seeker concerns here?
Well, this is only a temporary license that you're giving them to use your property.
Okay.
If any approvals I've provided here, they're responsible for getting any permits that they may have to get.
Okay, so that should automatically send them through the planning board process then. So just like an applicant, here's my site plan, here's the specifications that are given to me from the town. Do you approve?
Yeah, I think they would need an approval. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's why I put the burden on them to get their approvals.
Okay, so planning board it would be then.
Yeah.
Which kind of underscores the need for this agreement, because quite frankly, they were practicing without this agreement being in place. And, you know, that was kind of an oversight, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to correct that amicably, because obviously we need to work hand in glove with our fire districts.
Right. We don't want our fire company having to put an Orange County facility to train. They should have something locally.
That's
right.
What we're hoping to do officially.
Right.
So Howard, I think you have enough to spice this up a little bit without overburdening it. And
yes, I do.
Michelle and I have a path forward that doesn't.
I'll get you something tomorrow.
So Michelle, we'll reach out to Gardner right away and set up a discussion if he wants to, you know, with all appropriate parties at the fire districts.
All right, cool. It's because it is a very anomalous situation, so that's the reason why this conversation is very important.
Do we need to take a vote, Howard, or no? Okay.
All right, so we have a distinguished guest from the Watchtower. I'm not sure if that's the next item on our agenda.
No, it's not on the agenda. The next item is the resolution appointing the Board of Assessment Review, Planning and Zoning members.
You want to take that one?
Sure. Okay, so just before we go into it, Marissa Dahlbaum and I think we made a lot of progress in looking at the terms and the local law that we passed last year for planning board terms. And we're well on the way of getting everything in alignment with local law number 1 of 2020, and also with section, what is it now? We also need to bring terms into compliance with section 523 of the real property tax law, which determines terms for the Board of Assessment Review. So just as that background. So the terms that people will have now fit into the cadence for a 5-member board. There needs to be somebody whose term expires every year, 5-year term, 1 person a year. And then for what we did with the planning board, which is a 7-person board with 5-year terms, we created a cadence where in some years 2 people have their terms expiring, and 2 years that happens out of every 5. And in the other years, 1 person's term expires. So Marissa, thank you so much. And I will read the motion.
Michelle, if I can butt in for a second, you're
Sure.
still sharing the document from the last.
Thank you. Okay.
I know there's so many buttons.
I know. Thank you. Stop sharing. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Michelle,
So-
before you read that, can I just make a quick statement?
Sure.
You know, I'd like to say that the town board, being led on this most recent effort by Michelle, organized and conducted interviews for the planning board, the zoning board of appeals, and the assessment review board. You know, this town board is committed to an open process of recruitment and selection. We posted the jobs and interviewed all candidates who applied. We selected candidates based on ability and qualifications, and we are committed to encouraging civic participation through this process as a continuing policy for the town board. So thank you to all the candidates, and thank you to all who made this successful. So please go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. I'd like to make the following motion, that the town board hereby appoints the following and makes the following term adjustments. For the Board of Assessment Review, reappoint Ed Brennan, Chairman, term 10/1/2020 to 9/30/2025, and appoint Michael Witt for a term starting 2/8/2021 through September 30, 2024. Now, as I said, this is to bring things into compliance with that section of the real property law. So because the Board of Assessment Review year works differently, that's why their terms expire in September. For the zoning board, reappoint Frank Peverly, Chairman, for a term January 1, 2021 to December 31, 2025, and appoint Omar Delgado as an alternate member for a term starting 2/8/2021 through December 31, 2021. Alternate is a one-year term. For the planning board, reappoint William Friedlich for a term beginning 1/1/2021 to December 31, 2025, and appoint Ned Kugel for a term starting 2/8/2021 through December 31, 2021. And that is because of needing to comply with local law number 1 of 2020, which dictated the terms, expirations. We also need to adjust terms for 2 of the existing Board of Assessment Review members to be in accordance with Section 523 of the Real Property Tax Law. Marie Warniaha, her term was mistakenly set to end May of 2022, but since the terms need to end in September, her term will now expire September 30, 2021. And the same term was given to Gary Phelps, so that term will also expire September 30, 2021. So the last thing we have to adjust when those terms expire is to get the expiration of terms to be 1 a year. So that, but we won't do that until these terms expire. So do I have a second?
Second. Okay, please go ahead, Jay.
Jay.
Whatever.
Second.
I'm easy.
Okay, discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to point out that the appointments of any chair, the actual appointment as a chair is a 1-year term, but the appointment to the board is a 5-year term. So although it's a reappointment of chair for a term, that is correct in as far as the chair is reappointed for a 1-year term, but the term on the board is correct. Just wanted to point that out.
Thanks for that clarification, yes. Anybody else a question?
None here.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, I'll take a roll call. Jay Reichcott,
Aye.
Ken English,
Aye.
Dave McMillan,
Aye.
Maria May,
Aye.
and myself, Michelle Lindsay, aye. Thank you to everyone for stepping up to serve.
Yes, thank you. The interview process was great. Met a lot of people that I didn't know in town, and there's a lot of talent and dedication. So I look forward to working with all of them.
And I'd also like to say that we had more qualified applicants than positions to fill. So if you didn't get appointed, don't take it personal. Keep applying and your time will come.
Thank you. Absolutely. All right. I think, well, could you tell me the next agenda item and hopefully?
Well, I believe it was the New York State retirement system, but that's being tabled till the next meeting. So then the next is the Watchtower presentation.
Okay. Well, thank you. This presentation, we have a distinguished guest, and I appreciate his patience. Ted Hoffman is here from the Watchtower. I know he works in the facilities department. Ted, is your microphone working, sir?
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Ted. Thank you.
Okay.
Could you tell us a little bit about your position at the Watchtower and just introduce yourself, please, sir?
Certainly. Certainly. It's nice to be with all of you this evening. So I represent work with the facility management division here at Watchtower, primarily with the facilities that we have, both of our facilities on Long Meadow Road. So the one at 1 Kings Drive, and then further up the road, which is in the town of Tuxedo, 1422 Long Meadow Road. And then there's, of course, some other properties that we have in and around in the town of Tuxedo, some homes and apartments. And so when we have opportunity to show our appreciation for the community and the work that you folks do, we look for ways to try to support where we can. And so that's the reason for this presentation, or this document that was submitted, is a draft agreement that you have with an offer for us to assist with your ongoing remediation project there at the mulch facility on Long Meadow Road, 984 Long Meadow Road. So we're happy to be with you.
Thank you, Ted. I know I met with you and a few other representatives from the Watchtower at the mulch pile, as we call it, the Long Meadow Road site, which we're tediously attending to try to restore the natural environment there. And I was pleased to meet you and other members of your organization, and we very much appreciate this offer and want to take this opportunity to discuss it with you as a town board. I want to see if I could actually bring up the red line agreement. So,
I've got it handy if you want me to share it.
oh, that'd be great. Thank you, Jay.
This is the markup that Howard sent before the meeting.
So the original document without the red lines was submitted to us by the Watchtower. And again, we're very appreciative to discuss this and to review your offer. So basically, I guess we could start at number 1. Is that an appropriate place to start? I would imagine.
Well, are we really going to go through every term of this? I mean, this is mostly contractual stuff that we could whatever. I mean,
Well, it's okay. So let me give a few talking points that I know even Ted and I had talked about. There's a couple of things we're waiting on, as anybody who follows us and has been following this process knows. We recently contracted with an environmental engineering company to do surveying out there to help us determine what exactly we're dealing with there. And Ted, you and I had spoken about this, so. I think Rob Dolbaum probably can give us an update, but if any day now, we're expecting samples to be taken from our pile so that we can really understand what it is we're dealing with out there. And why I'm mentioning this, because if we're hoping to get this work going again in late April or May. So of course, the results of these tests will help guide that process. Where do we go next? That's one thing. Also, this agreement has a lot of stipulations about keeping people safe, which of course is of paramount importance to us and to the Watchtower. And most specifically about COVID concerns. Of course, we're all waiting for progress to be made in that area between vaccinations and further conditions that hopefully continue to eliminate those concerns. But absolutely, we understand the concerns there and would absolutely want to meet those requirements. One question I would have, Ted, with regard to number one about the commitment of an equivalent of 30 continuous days in man hours. I would take that to be 6 weeks. And Ted, is that indicating that it's not necessarily consecutive 6 weeks, or how do you guys see that possibly playing out?
Yeah, I think our view, and we appreciate the comments, Matt can say that up front, because we definitely view this as a draft agreement to coordinate together. So we appreciate the feedback. I think our view was, with this type of work, depending on weather, we were looking at, you may have weeks where, a week the weather may be poor and very little can be done. And then you may have 2 or 3 weeks of very good weather. But total, when if you have a crew there for 30 days or, or 1 month's period of time, that's kind of how the approach would be. There may be, 60 to 70 hours performed 1 week according to the town, the laws permitted working hours by the town. And there may be the following week the weather doesn't permit any. But we would like to try to get as much done as we can within a 30-day period.
Understood. Thank you. That clarifies a lot.
Can I ask a question on that before we go to another point? Mr. Hoffman, this is Michelle Lindsay. Can you just clarify for me, is the equivalent of 30 continuous days and man hours, does that mean 2 people each working 30 continuous days and man hours, or is that the total?
No, that's
each person.
That's a very good question. During that time, we plan on having probably 3 to 4 operators, depending on the equipment. But being on site before, it's not limited to number of people per se. The work we feel will probably limit the amount of people you can safely have there at one time, but probably 3 to 4. The reason for writing it in or stating it that way in continuous days is it works better for us and how we use our personnel. If they're not there 2 weeks, 1 month, and then a month goes by and then they're back for 2 more weeks to kind of complete a month. We'd like to work with you, work with the town, pick the best time. Obviously, weather's a key component to this type of work, but really come and hope to, accomplish as much as we can over a 30-day period.
Okay. thank you.
But it's not limited to people. The work would probably more dictate it. We're assuming somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4, maybe a few more at the beginning as things get set up.
So 3 or 4, but for 30 days equivalency.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So Ted, I'm sure you know, Highway Superintendent Robert Dolbaum is the lead guy on this project. And I know Rob is on our call right now. I think he's caller number 2. Rob, are you there? Michelle?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we can now, Robert.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Ken. How are you? Ted, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Board, everybody. Hello. Yes, Ken.
Well, you know, I've just, we're listening to Ted and trying to understand the agreement and, you know, just trying to figure out, you know, from this offer of skilled labor, you know, how we might be able to fit that in. Rob, any ideas or questions?
Well, yeah. Well, not really at the moment. I understand that the 30 days is maybe possibly not consecutive 30 days because you do get rain and you're out for 2 days and whatever the weather may be. So I understand that process. I read the initial agreement that we were sent, and I believe the equipment part of it, I understand there was some stipulation about safety, the COVID safety and all that. I understand that. That's fine. That's our main objective, is to be safe. So as far as the testing of the dirt pile, nothing's been done yet, but I imagine the snow had a big part of that not moving forward yet, but I'm assuming they'll be here very soon. And it's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. So then I was also thinking, Rob, with the, you know, the scheduling, I informed Ted that we had purchased some of those disinfecting misting machines as to how we've been, you know, I think we've used them on our police cars and we've used them on our heavy equipment. Could you describe what we've got there with that, Rob?
Well, I don't know exactly what it's called, but you're right, Ken. It's a misting. We have COVID cleaner. We spray the equipment down. We spray the shop down. We spray the offices and stuff down. It's a disinfectant that kills the COVID virus, and we can supply that. So on a daily basis, I understand that they want to be solely using the equipment. I understand that. We can give them COVID spray for that also, and PPE if necessary, mask, gloves, that type of thing, wipes, whatever, to keep everybody safe. Absolutely.
Okay. So there was a stipulation about fuel tank on site for refueling. And if we didn't provide the fuel tank, that the Watchtower would supply its own fuel. I'm not clear how that would work, Ted. Do you guys have like a fueling truck? Is that what would happen?
We have a truck that oh, go ahead, Ted. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That was Ted. Please go ahead, Ted.
I'm sorry, Rob, didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
We could do it a couple different ways. We could arrange for a fuel truck that we have that would deliver, or maybe even look at bringing a tank and setting it on site ourselves. We're just trying to keep that process. We'd like to stay as productive as we can. We realize this is probably not going to take this project all the way to completion, but it's just in an effort to try to keep us moving and not have to wait and have fuel or anything else with the equipment become an issue.
So Rob, how do you currently fuel the trucks on site?
Well, we have a fuel truck that we use to fuel them. It's 100-gallon truck. We fill up the equipment. We go back. We're only maybe 7 miles to the fuel tanks and fill up the tanks. But we fill them with our own truck, our own utility truck that fuels them, and then we service and grease the equipment. So I don't know how you would want to make that work. And we have a 1,000-gallon fuel tank on site, but we don't use it at the moment, and it has gasoline in it that we would have to switch over to diesel. But
that sounds like something we could.
If that would work for
Ted
Ted, but
and, I'm sorry, please go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead. He would have to, I would prefer that he look at that and say, yes, it would work, or no, it doesn't work for us, or whatever, because it's not a portable tank, and it's over in the back near the sandblasting place.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we could still have that tank filled and use our tank, our truck for fueling purposes and stuff. However, we can make that work if possible. If they feel comfortable with that.
This is Jay. If I could jump in, Ted, if you've got your own fueling arrangements that you're comfortable with, let's just make sure one of us isn't getting a much better price on diesel than the other, and go from there.
And we're comfortable with that.
Well, yeah. Okay. That's fine. Our fuel is state bid priced and no tax, so I don't know if, and I'm sure you're close to that anyway, Ted.
Okay.
Howard, any concerns about like something that is over my pay grade, like number 4 on page 2, indemnification or anything like that?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
Or?
No, Howard. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you see my notes and comments on it. I think the thing I would like to see happen is I'd like you just to send this draft over to Ted.
Okay.
So he could look at those comments and then review them with whoever he thought was appropriate, and then we could have a conversation as to whether there was some ambiguities in it, or whether there's things that they can do or things that they can't do, and then come up with some alternatives so that we move, towards a comprehensive agreement that allows them to help us as we'd like them to do and as they want to do.
Excellent.
And the only thing, Ken, that I would suggest and be clear about is this is not something that's going to happen till May or so, because we're in the process of separating what we've screened now, and that's going to take a couple more months to get so that there's room to complete another round, so to speak.
Yeah, Ted and I have discussed that, and certainly I also pointed out that a big next step for us is to get these analysis by environmental engineers and then check in with the DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, and just see where we're at. So Ted, I'm going to pause for a second and just see if you had anything you wanted to add or any questions for us.
No. I mean, on that point, we are in full agreement, and we want to come in when it makes the most sense, and we can offer the biggest assistance. So as that works, and as that becomes clear, which it sounds like it's going to be over, the next couple of months here still before we will really zero in on when maybe the time we come to help, when this 30-day period or whatever starts. We're want to work and support the best way we can.
Well, that's very magnanimous, and so let me just ask a question. If it would fall anywhere between May and September, is that too wide of a scope for us to propose right now? I mean, we understand the 30-day window. If after we got our results and working with Rob and his team to see where that would best fit, is that too wide of a scope, or would that still be possible? And if so, how much lead time would you need for us to decide on that 30-day window?
Ken, that's a very good question. I probably would need to go back and talk to the ones that are going to come and run the equipment and coordinate the jobs that have been there. I do think that's kind of the time that we would have in mind, but meaning the May to September. But
Okay.
the lead time, I would say probably at least 3 months, as we're trying to plan our work for this coming year. And for this type of work, obviously this in the Northeast, you try to get as much done as you can, but I could refine that and come back to you. It seems like we're going to have further discussions as we look at this document anyway, but we could narrow that down.
And I would think, we would start our work in late April, May. I would think Rob's team would probably want to get that going for a couple of months, May, June. So I think we're probably talking more July, August, or September, probably more August than September. Does that sound right to you, Rob?
Yes, it does, Ken. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That sounds about like late June, July, somewhere in there. Yes.
Okay. So, and that gives us a wider window on this 3 months, and we'll know
And it gives us
more from these environmental engineers. Go ahead, Rob.
Right. And it gives us a better weather window also for that type of work. So
definitely.
May, June can be a wet month or and dryer's better in this process. So.
Well, great. I think we have enough to move to the next level discussion. I'll share this document with Ted, and of course make myself and we'll available, and then we'll look forward to regrouping and having further discussion and possibly meeting at the site. Ted, anything that would help clarify the arrangement, we'd be happy to do.
Ken,
Sounds good.
Howard, if you're out there, I don't know if you sent that to me also, but the document
that as well.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Rob.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will. I don't know if I did previously, but I'll make sure you get a copy of it tomorrow.
Thanks, Howard.
You're welcome.
Town board, any further questions or comments with that?
None here.
No, just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you. No questions.
Thank you, Ted. And if you can convey that to your organization, we're happy to have you as neighbors and working together on this. So thank you.
No, thank you all, and look forward to continue.
Good night, Ted.
In this endeavor. Have a good evening.
You too, sir.
Thanks, Ted.
Appreciate your patience, though. Okay, Michelle, where are we at? You're executive of our agenda.
Next up, Deirdre Murphy is going to give us a presentation on a plan that's been put together by the Parks Outdoor Recreation Events Committee. And it's well, I'll let Deirdre tell us all about it, but it's a great event to bring attention to Tuxedo in a unique way. I will have a slideshow presentation that I will share. So let me get that up, and then I'll introduce Deirdre.
Hi, everybody. This is Deirdre.
Hi, Deirdre.
Hey, Deirdre.
How are you? So, I just prepared a little presentation so that we can go through all the work that we've been doing on the POR committee on this specific part, which is the art and music portion of the POR committee. We have put together a proposal for a festival of arts and music for Tuxedo. It's basically in the spirit of live, live, play, and work in Tuxedo. So it's basically trying to reach out to neighboring communities as well as a community in Tuxedo to celebrate all the beautiful things in Tuxedo. So we're proposing a 2-part, 3-day event, and it's broken into 2 sections. One is for the art section, it's a plein air program, which is a 3-day outdoor painting and finalized in an exhibit in the train station. And then the following day, an outdoor music festival of local artists. So I'm going to go through each thing, and then I'm going to break down our thoughts on the budget. And then we can have an open discussion. Linda, who is the chairperson of the music festival portion, is currently on a training session, which is running late. So she may jump on at any time, but she can answer questions on the concert part, and I'm running the plein air part. So without any more drum roll, basically, many communities within the Hudson Valley do offer plein air events. And it really is popular, and it is a way for people to come to celebrate the beauty of nature, specifically in certain areas. And so we thought it would be a good idea to offer it for Tuxedo, because one of the things that I, as a new resident, have discovered, there's so many beautiful, beautiful places. So we were going to do an invitational to 20 to 30 artists within the Hudson Valley. And we were going to designate throughout Tuxedo, the town of Tuxedo, which also includes part of Sterling Forest, 15 to 20 designated sites for painting. And we were going to break it down into 3 different themes so that we could get a nice array, not only of style, but also of subject. So it would be landscapes, water, and architecture. And we all know we have quite a lot of that in Tuxedo. So we're hoping that we can get anywhere, based on the amount of artists, about 50 to 75 paintings for exhibit on that Friday, which we would have an exhibit and offer a meet the artists, offer the pieces for sale. We would get, the town of Tuxedo would get a 25% commission on the art, which is rather modest. And we are also going to have not necessarily juried, but prizes for the 3 top artists, the best, second, and third runner-up. So it should be an exciting event, but it would be followed by the concert, which would be the following day. That would be offered at Powerhouse Park, utilizing that site. And it would be an all-day music festival. And the thought here is to invite, again, an invitational of local artists, which also have followings. So one of the things that Linda is doing is she's screening artists to make, and bands, hoping to have bands that have participants of anywhere to 4 to 5 musicians per band, and bands that have a following, so that we can, because we've never done this before, we want to really generate a lot of people to come, and bands definitely have following. So that's one of the criteria. And we are also going to, we're soliciting local food trucks, so we can have nice variety of food and beverages available for that event. And again, trying to make it so that it's differentiated, so the foods would be differentiated. And we have somebody working on that. Jody Smith, who lives in the Woodlands, is currently working on collecting vendors who would be interested. And typically, vendors do pay to come to these events. However, we're not going to do that at this point, because we want to get people interested and get the right vendors to come. We really don't know what they're going to be able to make. So for this event, we're not going to charge our vendors. So those are the 2 big events that we have. In terms of how we're going to market it, we are going to rely very heavily on social media. And again, Linda Ackerman has a lot of contacts in this area, and is very capable of putting together a full-fledged social media program. If she wants to set up work with the website we currently have for the town of Tuxedo, and then possibly have a link that would be separated. We have quite a lot of emails for the artists as well as participants in these bands. We would have a Facebook page and Instagram, so we can really do a pretty extensive social media program. And one of the reasons we want to combine this is that we basically get the bigger bang for the buck when we do our program. We're also going to combine this with a public relations program, which will really tie in once again to the message of Tuxedo. It's a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place to play. It's a wonderful place to work. Growing more and more awareness of Tuxedo as a community for people in the Hudson Valley. And then just some basic, traditional local signage that we can put in retail places and et cetera. So getting into the money part, what everybody likes to see. So for the plein air, we have actually put in for you got to go back because we're going to do plein air money. We put in for a grant. There was a grant that the library has applied for. We haven't heard from it yet. It's not in this budget, but we did ask for $5,000 to support our arts program in Tuxedo. So that would be helpful, but currently we do not have that in the budget. So for the program, we have equipment for display, and that is so that because in the train station, you can't really use the walls. You have to have different equipment so you can hang this art along with some lighting. So we're going to need to do some investment in that. In terms of administration and supplies, we have to get different kinds of supplies so that we can execute the program, make sure there's signage at the different sites so that if people want to go and visit the artists, there will be maps and there has to be signage so that people will know where to go. And for the reception, we are proposing that we can do this pretty frugally with a wine and cheese reception. And then the artist prizes, we put in a budget of $2,000. So the total expense for the plein air event would be $4,000. Okay, now to the next. Okay, so for the full day music festival, we have put in for 5 bands. And so 5 bands at $1,500 a piece. That would be the program would probably start around noon and end at around 7 or 8. So we're thinking about 8 hours of music and trucks, etc. And that here we have for the sounds and lights, $3,500. And that includes crew people who may have to come with it, setting up the sound. Electrical and internet, $3,000. Again, we're putting in a budget here because we don't know what the town will require in terms of having labor if we need it. Permits and fees, police cleanup. This is for 3 people for the police department, so that's 24 hours. That's $2,400. And then cleanup, we put in an extra $600. Sanitation, this is based on a rough estimate of information we got off the internet on how many restrooms you need. An administrator coordinator, we may have to spend some money on getting people who are going to coordinate all of these permits and getting for the trucks, for the bands, etc. And then we have in here miscellaneous and transportation. That is for rental of things like chairs. This is for tables, for a place for the bands to coordinate everything, possibly a shuttle bus back and forth. The school has said that we could use one of their little mini buses, but we have to lock that down. So for the entire event, we have budgeted $22,500. Going to the next in terms of our revenue. So for the revenue, between art sales and the fees for signing up for the program, we have revenue of $1,500 on the plein air. We've conservatively put in for 400 people to attend at $10 a piece. That's $4,000. Sponsors, going out to local sponsors, and I've gotten a lot of feedback that people feel very confident they can get people to sponsor this program, especially if we do the appropriate promotions that we're saying we're going to do. And there's $5,000 in the tourism budget. So the total revenue here, we're putting in for $15,500. And again, that does not include the $5,000 that the library has applied for, which we still haven't heard. And so, roll call, the basic program, $2,000 for advertising, $4,000 for the plein air, $22,500 for the music festival. So a total for the entire program of $28,500, revenue of $15,500 with a shortfall of $13,000. So that's basically the budget that we're proposing here. We have suggested dates, which again, we had originally said we wanted to do this in May because of the beautiful time when we're getting, spring. But because of COVID, we've sort of pushed that back. So June 10th through 12th is the proposed date. And then if that seems to be too early, the reason we do want to do that is because if it is successful, it allows us to do yet another event in the fall. And we would like to really start getting some momentum in offering these types of venues for Powerhouse Park and events in Tuxedo to really promote Tuxedo. So that would be really one of the reasons we want to push for the June date. But if people feel it's too early based on the situations with health, then we're proposing that we would move to the Labor Day weekend, which is the 2nd to the 4th. So that's really the program in a nutshell. Any questions?
I have a question. This is Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, I got two questions.
Sure.
First, I used to work rock and roll, and I still do some, and trying to put together a concert venue in 3 months seems aggressive, but if you think you can do it for June, I believe you.
I do think we can. Linda has, and she's not here to talk for herself, but she has done this before. She's connected with a lot of people in the music community, and she feels very confident. And I've also talked to a lot of my friends who are, some of them are music promoters, and they believe that this is very doable if we get started and we know what we're doing. So,
okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
You're
And then
right,
my
it's
other question.
aggressive, but yes. Okay.
Okay.
Next. Yep.
You showed a budget that's got a $13,000 hole in it.
Correct.
Where's the $13,000 coming from?
Well, that's why I'm here. I'm asking you guys.
Ah, okay. Now I understand.
Yes.
No more questions.
Yes. It would be sponsored by the town. Yes.
And Jay, the 5,000 tourism grant, we would pledge towards this that we received from the county.
So we have $5,000 already.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so we only need
But
$7,000.
no, that doesn't reduce the 13. That's included before
Yeah.
the 13.
No, I put the 5,000 in already. So it's 13 is the shortfall.
13.
If we get
Okay.
5 from the grant that the library has applied for, then it goes down to 8.
Yeah, nothing. Wait, nothing.
We can see if there's how the county is, if the county's entertaining any additional tourism grants for this year. Don't know. So, but that's worth looking. And I guess, Deirdre, also, I did ask Dave McMillan to take, give us some of his experience in this. Dave, if I go back to the budget, let me find that.
It's slide 8.
Here it is. What, David, can you see this budget here for sound and everything? Is
I
that,
can, yes.
so what do you think? I
Well,
mean, you don't have to say right now. I mean, we could talk about this over the next couple of weeks.
it's so here. I'll just say it like this. First of all, thanks you guys for recognizing this venue and putting all this stuff together and all the work you've been doing to do it. First of all, because that's very meritorious. I've always had that in the back of my mind, and I tried to run a couple of things down there, but the weather seems to be the foe, right? So that's another thing that we should factor in. But yeah, $1,500 for local bands, that's commensurate with with their skill, and if they got good followings, that's what they would ask for at any other venue. Sound and lights are important, especially if you get into the darkness. We had a problem with that, and we had to bring a fire truck in to light the place. The electrical stuff, depending upon what the requirements are for sound, we can support a 10,000 watt system with the current electric that's there. I've had that changed to support that. But if you're getting a 10 or a 15 or 20,000 watt system, then you have to rent a generator. And that seems like, I think I paid $900 for the generator, and it was like maybe $1,000 for the lights the last time. So that might be a little bit high.
It might be.
Yeah. Yeah. And the police and all that, everything you have here is what I had on my last list. The only thing that I see, needs probably more coordination. Maybe you have it on your longer list, but the parking was a challenge too. Because if we did get 400 people, we were going to quickly run out of room, up there in the lower lot. So we had to make provisions with a shuttle bus to the fire training center. So that's it. I think it looks great, though. I mean, you guys have attacked everything that's necessary here. And I'd love to talk more about, from my experience of what I ran into here, and what to expect. So maybe we could do that at some point.
Well, that would be really helpful. And I will say that we didn't go light on the sound and electrical part of these budgets, only because we wanted to make sure that we didn't, we'd rather be over than under. And we wanted to make sure that if the town wanted us to hire labor, from a union, that this was in here. I mean,
yeah, that's the other thing. So, I don't think you're going to run into a problem with prevailing wage for music here. I'm an 802 member, Musicians Union for years. I don't think any of us would ever jump up and down over this, especially since you're highlighting local bands, right? So I don't suspect you'll run into that. The other thing is with the sound, with the back line, not the back line, sorry, the sound system. Does that include a sound engineer as well?
yes.
Okay, so you have somebody that will be mixing all the bands.
Yes, that's why that's $3,500. It accounts for one person, a sound guy.
Okay, we could talk about that too. I mean, I can get your costs way down here, and I got these are guys that are Grammy winners that live around here, so we could talk about that too.
Well, anything to get the budget down is always great, but I didn't want to come in and say, "Oh, I can do this for $500" when I,
absolutely nailed it. As a matter of fact, $22,500 was what it exactly cost us for the very first time we did this. So you're right there. You're right there in the numbers.
Okay, good.
So it looks good. I'm interested in having some more conversations with you about it. So contact me anytime you wish. But
we will. 100%. That's great.
And I love the logo. It's great.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah. Hi, Deidre. I just wanted to say this is really great, really well presented and really well thought out. And yes, thank you so much. And thank you to the POR committee for all your work. I have one question for you.
Sure.
So it's been told to me, I don't know the person particularly, but there's someone that has been doing connections between Sloatsburg and the city in terms of bringing people here and things like that. Do you know who this person is? I don't know.
Well, we were in touch with Sloatsburg about making sure there were no conflicts. And so there weren't, but we'd have to go back to them again, with our dates once again, because as I said, we were originally looking at May. But yes, we're now talking to Sloatsburg, about working together on other things, and they're making some recommendations of local bands also. We're trying to coordinate that, but it can get hairy. So
Yeah.
right now we're just trying, it's hard enough just to get it going as it is, but you start getting more people involved, you get more, especially towns, you get a little bit more involved.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, this is a great presentation, Deirdre. Thank you so much. I'm hoping, maybe with Dave, we can, sit down and maybe get some, bring these numbers down a little bit, check out some of the expenses and.
Absolutely. And, always, from my past experience is, if there's a number that you have to get us to hit, you can tell us and we can all work together to hit that number. But, it's very important, I think, to keep an open mind to the fact that this could be an ongoing event. I think it brings a lot of positive PR to Tuxedo. And, I've certainly enjoyed a lot of the PR that they're doing in Sloatsburg with their grassroots? Yes, that was always fun. So, I think we can definitely have a very positive experience here. So I look forward to your feedback.
I'd just like to offer one last thing. So, even though I was unsuccessful at obtaining funds from, say, the LDC to do this, I think maybe we should take a look at that once again, because remember, we're trying to put Tuxedo on the map, right? We have to make an investment. The ROI, I don't think is so important initially. We need to get it on the map, right? So I don't think there'd be many roadblocks to entertaining another application to the LDC. We got about $250,000 left in there. We have no other applications against that money.
Especially for things that are sort of a long-term investment, if there's anything in this list here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to spend money to make money, and we do have that money. I know we want to do some beautification things with it as well, but if you're talking, 10, 12, 15 grand or whatever, 25 is a blanket amount. I don't know. I think we should discuss it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, sorry Linda couldn't be here because
I didn't get a chance to speak with you yet. If you can indulge me for a moment. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I'm concerned about is charging any Tuxedo resident for a ticket. If we're using town funds to pay for anything, I don't think we should be using town funds and then charging residents to attend. That's something I would want to look at. First of all, but I want to start out with something positive. This is a committee of residents who have been very engaged in trying to brainstorm ideas to promote Tuxedo. So I'd want to start out echoing all the positive things that have been said. I mean, Deirdre, you represent this community, this committee very professionally, and I really appreciate all the work that you guys have obviously put into this and the thought that's about trying to elevate Tuxedo. And as Dave said, put Tuxedo on the map. Absolutely a goal of all of ours. I'd just like to propose a few different ideas, if I may. I go to the series of concerts like they have in Monroe or Greenwood Lake. And I think one advantage of those series of concerts is you're not dependent on any one day as a make or break. And I'm just wondering if you guys even considered that kind of a notion of trying to get in a rotation of those concert series like they do in those local towns of Monroe and Greenwood Lake. And I'm not even sure about Sloatsburg, but those are two towns that I go to their concert series. And I know they use the stage that Orange County provides, especially in Monroe. And just if you guys even considered that as opposed to a one-day event, which as we know, can certainly be detrimentally affected by a bad day of weather. So I'm just wondering if you would consider something like that, where it's more of a series of did you guys even consider that, or is
Well,
this the model?
the thought was, Ken, that we were going, the thought was to kick off with a really big bang.
Mhm.
And then to follow up with other, and that was why the thought was to move it into the spring, which, you know, May, it's already been pushed back. But then to be able to offer other concert series after that. But in order to really promote it, to be able to do a concert series and then promote, you know, one and then a next month and then a next month, the cost of promoting it is very high. So unless you get a following, you sort of are stuck, you know? So the thought was, yes, you would follow up with it with a concert series afterwards, but starting off with a big bang, which is the art and then music, and making it a huge festival all wrapped up in an umbrella of 2 days. It was really about a money issue.
So,
you know, certainly I'll bring that back to Linda, because this is really her project. And that was where she went with it. I mean, we have been talking to other people who are you know, music people who would like to come and use the venue of Powerhouse Park, because really it's underutilized. It's a beautiful, wonderful venue.
Well, that's certainly something the town board has discussed. You know, working with promoters, producers who are looking for venues to do this kind of work, and that basically we're trying to work out a deal where they could use our space. And
yeah, well, we're inviting them to this event.
That it's less about us doing it and more about them doing it.
Yeah,
Obviously,
absolutely.
them shouldering more of the responsibility and risk, and us trying to promote the use of our space. So
hopefully that would be the outcome of this, really, is to get promoters. We would be inviting promoters to this program.
well, not for nothing, you already have two that are interested. So Giancarlo, I forget his last name, and Dave Kramer. These guys are Grammy-winning producers. They love that venue. We probably need to speak to them, and I know them both.
Oh, good. Well, we should. And I also have a couple on my end that I'm talking to, but trying to get them up here to look at it. But yes, we need to put that would be a secondary program. I mean, we have to keep the momentum going. It's not just about one event. It really is about making Tuxedo a point of destination for beautiful things. You know, let work play. That's it.
So one last thing. So the last time we did a concert, I was able to secure some free radio spots. Actually, I produced a commercial. It was a 30-second spot. And we got the free time. So I have a contact for that as well outside the social media for advertising. And even in one particular case, they actually interviewed us for like 30 minutes. So you guys could all get on the radio and promote Tuxedo, and it wouldn't be any cost to us.
Well, why don't you come on our committee, Dave?
I definitely can do that.
Yeah, I think you should just join us on the committee, because you have a lot of great ideas and you have a lot of ways that you can help us. So you should just join the committee.
Okay, now I'm a new member.
You are.
Excellent. Excellent. And yeah, and then from our end, Dave, you know, the board can talk about some permanent, or not permanent, but some investment in Powerhouse Park that would make this easier from the LDC side of it, things.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I mean, this, just for background for the people at the meeting, the POR committee stands for Parks, Outdoor Recreation and Events, and this just got started a few years ago when we started the economic development committees and broke into different areas of how to approach economic development. And this was one of the ways to promote economic development is to, feature Tuxedo in this positive way to make more people aware of Tuxedo. So it's one of the economic development efforts.
Right.
So I thank everybody on the port committee for all of this great work.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. I know it's a lot of work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next steps, we'll wait to hear from you because to Jay's point, we would like to get started and sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Deirdre.
Okay,
Thanks, Deirdre.
you're welcome.
Okay. Hey. Next. Okay, on the packet, let me make sure I didn't forget something. Okay, next is the resolution accepting the minutes. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the regular bi-monthly town board meeting held on January 25th. Do I have a second?
Second, Dave.
Any discussion?
No, I reviewed them. And,
Okay, I'll take a
sounds
vote.
accurate.
Okay, let me see. Ken English,
Aye.
Maria May,
Aye.
Jay Reichgott,
Aye.
Millen,
Aye.
myself, Michelle Lindsay, aye. Okay, vouchers.
Thought we were doing updates first.
Are we doing updates? I'm sorry.
That's it doesn't matter to me, but that's what's on the agenda, and we're trying to stick to the order as published.
Right.
Okay. Well then, okay. Updates, supervisor and town board updates?
Yes, I have one very important update. This goes back to the January reorganization of positions in town hall. We had an analysis that determined in order to meet civil service requirements, we had to make some changes to positions that were in town hall, most specifically the rec coordinator and the secretary to the supervisor. Both of those tasks were being done by one person, Shari Brooks. And it was determined under this examination that was not permissible by civil service law. And so the town board separated those positions, the rec coordinator and the secretary to the supervisor. The secretary to the supervisor is a full-time 30-hour-a-week job, and the rec coordinator is a part-time job, mostly of a seasonal nature. So we tried to investigate how we might be able to create a position a little bit bigger than just the rec coordinator position. And working with civil service, it was determined that those responsibilities, someone could also do a clerical position that serves primarily the building department, but basically we retooled the clerical positions to be floating positions. And so the rec coordinator and the clerical position is still undetermined, but was granted provisional approval by the Civil Service Board. I did approach Shari Brooks with that position, and she subsequently decided to decline that position. So I'm sorry to say that although Shari had been working for the town for many, many years of dedicated service, she has chosen to not accept that position with the town of Tuxedo, and thus, as of last Friday, has left the employment of working for the town of Tuxedo. So I personally would like to wish Shari all the best in her future, and I'm sorry to see her go, and I wish her success in the future. So I thought that was extremely important to let you guys know, and also I'm sure you would like to offer thanks to Shari as well. I'm going to open comment to the rest of the town board.
Absolutely. I think that Sherry did a great job with recreation and working in the office. So I wish her all the best.
I'd like to echo that. It's a long time, 19 years. She brought a lot of intellectual capital to that role. And hopefully we'll be able to come close to filling it with somebody with that much savvy. So thank you, Sherry Brooks, for all your hard work.
And enthusiasm too for Family Fun Day. Always, she loved that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I will jump in and say thank you as well, and we will miss you.
Yes. Especially this summer camp, you did a really good job in a very difficult situation of COVID last year.
So I want to alert the town board, we took steps to combine the two positions of rec coordinator and a clerical position to try to make that a more attractive 30-hour-a-week job. We're not bound by civil service to combine those two jobs. I mean, typically the rec coordinator is a part-time job, mostly of the seasonal nature. So as the town board considers that, and also tries to recruit for these positions, we may want to consider keeping those two positions separate. And so that's something we'll be discussing. I'll reach out to all of you during the next week and see how we want to go about that. We might how we want to market those two positions, either as a possibility of a combined position or keeping those two things separate. That's part of the strategy there. Over. Okay, that was my update. Thank you. Town board members?
I have Marissa Weiss and I have been communicating on the town village consolidation summary, and I think we're ready to send it to the board members for their review. And she did a great job in making it very understandable. So, which was a big task, and she included a timeline, and it's a great summary. And once the town board has a chance to review it, I believe we want to put that on the website, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'll as soon as it's ready for your review, we'll send it out to you and get your comments. And as you read it, if there's something that you would like a little more clarification on, please make a note of that. That would be great. The other thing I just want to talk about is the Climate Smart Community Task Force. I'm going to start having those meetings on this WebEx the first Monday of the month at 5:30. So the next one would be March 1 at 5:30. So it'd be easier for people to join us. And we're moving forward on several projects that will give us points towards certification. And one of the ones that gives us points is education. So there's a great presentation on the science of climate change that I have seen several times, and the presenters charged $300 for it. And I was going to reach out to the library and the school and maybe the churches and see if anybody would like to split it. So if once I will send it to you, and then next time we meet, I will ask if you would like to consider supporting this.
Good.
Okay, so I'll get that out to you, and then ask you February 22nd what you think. That's all for me.
I don't have anything in particular, I think, that I need to share today.
Nothing significant for me as well.
Okay, thanks. Good, Jay, go ahead.
I got a few things. First, just we were talking about the progress at the DPW, the dirt pile site. As far as the testing goes, the environmental testing consultants are finalizing their work plan for submittal to the DEC. That's the next step. Once that gets submitted, we have to wait for approval of the testing plan before we can start the testing. But that's where we are. We're moving forward. All right, and now from dirt until water. People in the hamlet are aware of this. I'm not sure if everyone else is. The hamlet, the part of the town that gets its water service from the village of Tuxedo Park water plant, are currently under a boil water order. If this is news, I apologize, but that's because over the weekend there were 2 water main breaks in the village along the line that supplies the town. And when you do that kind of work and the pressure goes down and you open the line, it's required to have a boil water order until there are 2 clean water sample tests 24 hours apart. I was speaking to the village, to John Ledwith, the village engineer and building inspector, not engineer, building official, who coordinates this stuff for the village. Their first water test went in this morning. They'll get the second water test in tomorrow morning. And they expect to have results back early Wednesday. So assuming everything's in order, that boil water order should get lifted sometime on Wednesday. And as soon as we all know more, you guys will. On a somewhat related matter, John reported to me that the village is seeing excessive water flow in the line that services the town. That isn't to say that people are flushing their toilets too much, but it is something on the order of a 50% increase in flow, which suggests a leak somewhere, and they haven't been able to find it yet, although they're still searching. So he asked that I mention, if people in the hamlet, if you see unusual water, a big puddle that doesn't belong there, especially in the sub-freezing temperatures that we have now, or something odd related to your water, it's a if you see something, say something thing. You can get in touch with me or get in touch with John Ledwith up in the village, or I guess get in touch with Rob and he can pass it along. But if everybody's looking, we might find this leak sooner rather than later.
So Jay, this is clean water that's leaking, not effluent, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Right. This is water supply. This is not sort of the hamlets and the East Village get their water, their drinking water from the Village of Tuxedo Park plant because that was the only game in town when the infrastructure was put together. So
Is that an exact overlap between the water supply and the Hamlet sewer district? Is that a 1-to-1 correlation or no?
I don't know. I don't know, but possibly.
So that main comes right next to my house. I haven't seen anything, but what's stopping them from using an aquaphone? Is it the depth of the pipe?
They're working on that. They've been doing some of that leak testing, which is basically, like you say, audio testing, and now working on getting another contract to do more of that.
All right, I'll keep an eye out.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean it's one of those things. I said I'd mention something.
I'd like to go back to your second point about the boil water advisory. I think so somebody like me just coming back into town and then drinking the water without knowing that's kind of a public safety issue for me. So I have a remedy. I'm gonna identify the problem and come up with an immediate remedy. Ken, we have a Nixle account. Can we allow the village to use it for these types of emergencies? I mean, this is the primary and best way to get that information out to the public.
I mean, it's the village informing residents of Tuxedo because there's, the crossover in service for utility. I mean, it seems perfectly reasonable to me. I don't know the parameters of the use of the Nixle system, but I mean, from a public safety standpoint, it makes perfect sense to me.
Okay, well, I'll volunteer to work on that conversation with those because I'm the only person right now that even knows how to use it, and I need to get that off of my lap. I need the police to be able to use it. I need the village and maybe some other board members who'd like to volunteer. So look for an email from me on how to get into Nixle and when to use it. And Ken, I think we should come up with more of a plain policy on how to use it and who's on duty for using it. But there's a lot of different, there's a lot of different things that could happen that dictate who uses it. I know in some places, like down in New Jersey, I get flooded with Nixles, almost to the degree that I become mute to them. But, in this particular case, it sounds like a great use. So I'll make sure that I reach out.
And to that point, Dave, I know that the village did notify the town, and there's a banner on the town website. So I agree. If you're the only guy who can do it and you're out of town, there's that system. I agree needs to be expanded.
Okay. Does
Well,
that
let me
mean you
just give a
volunteer?
shout out to Marissa Dolbon.
Sure.
She's been all over trying to make sure that these notices are put out.
Absolutely.
Marissa does it on the weekends. She does it as soon as she's notified of anything. So
I saw it on the website and
she gets
emails.
right on it. Marissa,
And I'd say that, Marissa should definitely be on the list of authorized users.
Marissa, see what happens when you do your job well.
I'll share the technology with you guys. All right. And then we'll be good.
Yeah. And to answer your question, yes, of course, I'd be happy to be on that list, Dave.
Well, I guess Maria just got nominated too because she's already doing the website. So share the wealth, right?
Okay.
All right. That's all I got.
Thanks
I
for all
have
the
a
work.
question for you on the ADA project. Are we ready to, I'm not sure what we need to do next on the closet in the town clerk's office. Do we need to get bids for that or the ADA bathroom upstairs? Do you know, can we move forward on those two projects?
I know that our consultant had put together the change order or was working on the change order for upstairs, and we were going to do it as a change order, not as a separate bid. But I don't know what the status of that is.
Okay, so
we should talk to
Al.
To Al.
Okay,
Yes.
we'll call Al tomorrow.
Okay, I just want to close out. I forgot to mention two upcoming meetings under my supervisor's update. The next important meeting is the Tuxedo Farms LDC meeting at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 17th. This is the annual meeting for the Tuxedo Farms. This has to do with the sewer district LDC meeting, its annual meeting. So this is most relevant to people. I was asking Jay about this just now. People who live in the Hamlet Sewer District. So this is of importance to you. We have been negotiating with the related group to try to see how we can move forward the opening of the new sewer plant, and we are continuing with those efforts. So that these meetings are most relevant to those residents. Secondly, of interest to hopefully all residents is the continuing Tuxedo Police Reinvention effort that I'm leading, working with Deputy Supervisor Lindsay and with great input from Chief Arthur Abbott. So our next meeting will be on Wednesday, February 24th. That meeting will begin, I believe, at 6:30, but I'll be sending out an email and a notice. Marissa, of course, will help me with that. We had a really good turnout at the first meeting. Almost 30 people showed up, and it was a great discussion. People have been following the Orange County meetings. I've attended all of those, and I think our meeting was a great discussion. The last meeting you can mark on your calendar, the third in the series, will be on Wednesday, March 24th. So if you can keep the 24th in mind, February 24th and March 24th, the Tuxedo Police Reinvention effort will meet on that date. So thank you to those who have been attending, and we'll renotice it again, and we hope that you'll join us then. Thank you.
And sorry, just talking about the overlap back to the SOAR district, there are residences in the village of Tuxedo Park that are on the Hamlet SOAR system. And those people probably know who they are, but houses that are along the slope going up the main entrance road there actually feed downhill into the Hamlet SOAR.
Thank you. We want all people serviced by the Hamlet Sewer District to be aware of what we're trying to do to
I sent
protect their
the
services.
list of properties to the village board and included it in my monthly liaison report, but maybe it needs to be more publicized so they know they're in that district. We'll go to the next item.
Sorry, I was talking and I was on mute. Yes, please.
All right.
Vouchers?
Is vouchers next?
Yes.
I'm looking at the packet here. Okay.
All right.
Maria, do you have it in front of you?
Yes, I have. So I make a motion that we approve the following vouchers. Numbers starting 201-291-7964 to 201-291-8024 for payment. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second that. Okay, Michelle. Absolutely, Michelle.
I do have a question for Dave. There was a charge for Wix, and is that just for the domain name? Do you know? I mean, is it an annual charge?
Yeah, it's an annual charge. It's canceled, but when did you see that?
Came through in the voucher release.
Yeah, it's canceled when we switched the domain name over to Civic Plus. But to make sure we didn't have any loss of continuity, availability, unfortunately, that the timing of that was just a couple of weeks difference, right? So we got trapped into another year, and it was. I mean, what's the amount?
389.
Yeah. Okay. So it's canceled. So next year we won't see the charge, but that's the reason that occurred.
Okay, great. Thanks.
If there's any possibility we should petition for, some type of payment subject to how much we used it. I guess we could ask, right?
Yeah. We could look at the charge date or the invoice date and see if it just automatically got generated and maybe the cancellation didn't get there.
You're on mute, Dave.
Generally speaking, for that level of web access, I mean, because it wasn't really commercial like Civic is. They're more than likely not going to give for proration, but I'll definitely go out and ask them. I'll send them an email.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll let you know.
That was my only question.
Any other comments?
I just have one comment for people who are following at home and seeing that we're at least an order of magnitude higher in the vouchers this meeting than usual. There are a number of one-time yearly pass-throughs. There are some big checks that we have to write to the fire district and the library to distribute their chunk of the tax monies. So that's why it's so big this month.
Good point. Also, the $2 million Tuxedo Farm Sewer is just a pass-through. Related company or, the developer pays that payment, and it's just a pass-through. But good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So put the pitchforks away.
If you take out the Tuxedo Farm Sewer and the trust and agency, it's all, my goodness, like $300,000 or something.
Yeah. All right. So are we ready to vote? Okay. So David McMillan,
Aye.
Jay Reichgott,
Aye.
Michelle Lindsay,
Aye.
and Kenneth English.
Aye.
And I'm Maria May. Aye.
Thank you.
Monthly report.
We have patiently waiting. I think Claire Scolini from the Justice Department wanted to give an update report, I believe. Hopefully she's still with us. I know she was on
Can you
call
hear me?
too with Rob Bilbaum. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Claire, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah. How are you guys? Just wanted to give you the judge's AC report for the month of January. Judge Brown was $19,043, and Judge McCaffin was $18,852. We're going to be starting criminal calendar virtually in March. And we got 4 new computers last month from the state. And as I said, plea by mails are going really well. We're actually doing them with defendants and attorneys. But everything's moving along.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Claire, I see you still
You're
have
welcome.
quite a few walk-in customers. Has that been manageable?
Yes. It's one at a time. They do have to fill out something. We have to take their temperature, but it's getting less and less, which is a good thing.
The credit card feature has really, I guess, lessened that traffic, no?
Yeah, it's the credit cards have been very well. As I said, we took in over $16,000 last month, and we just plan on doing more and more.
Well, please extend the town board's appreciation for all the work that your unit does. And, I see it on a first-hand basis, how well it's organized and how respectfully you treat the clients that come in. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, Claire.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Claire.
Okay, next on your monthly report is the police department. I don't know if you just want to go over the report that they submitted, or we could see if they're on the call. I don't see any call-in users, so.
I met with the chief today at
Oh,
Town
okay.
Hall, and I know Lieutenant Norton actually got his second COVID shot. So the police department's been taking care of that. I do see on the monthly report here, I'll give a few highlights that Lieutenant Norton and Detective Christian responded to a 33-year-old male resident with a mental health issue. Officers stood by as the subject took his medication and remained calm. A local resident requested help locating her 22-year-old daughter due to suicidal threats. P.O. Hall that put out a be on the lookout, a BOLO for the 22-year-old. She was located with her father in Orange County. Sergeant Michael Eichengreen investigated a complaint from a 27-year-old resident. The resident reported taking drugs voluntarily and passing out back in December. The investigation led to believe this is a dispute over drug money. Officer Andrew Markunis arrested a 21-year-old from Sloatsburg, having an active warrant from Suffern Police. Officers assisted a Warwick Police with a motor vehicle accident on 17A at the town line. Sergeant Douglas Russell and Police Officer Hall assisted a 67-year-old with mental health issues. Detective Stefan Christian and Officers Bronkowski and Aaron responded to a 16-year-old with mental health issues. P.O. Gerard Shiloh assisted town of Warwick Police with a motor vehicle accident on Long Meadow Road at IBM. Sergeant Michael Eichengreen, Officer Brendan Aaron, and the New York State Police responded to a possible burglary in progress. 23-year-old resident reporting heard noises. The house was checked, no negative results. And last, officers responded to 2 separate calls of shots heard on different dates. I think what's highlighted here is kind of the issues that we're trying to address with the Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative. You know, how many of these calls had to do with mental health, substance abuse kind of issues that, you know, go above and beyond what you would think of as police work, so to speak. So I want to encourage people to participate in our February 27th and 24th meetings on the Wednesday nights, dialoguing with our police officers and trying to figure out the best way that we can combine our first responder services to support the police, but of course to work together in our community. So thank you to our uniformed officers and other first responders. We have another, we have Rob Dolbaum. I know Rob is here and he's going to tell us all the great stuff. And then after that, we'll go with Marissa Dolbaum. So Rob, take it away. Caller 2.
All right. Okay, how you doing tonight? Let's see. What we have is snow, and more snow. That's kind of what seems to be the issues of the day. We got cleaned up from the big storm. Sunday we had another little storm. Tonight and tomorrow morning we're going to have snow all day tomorrow. Thursday I believe there's more snow, and next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I believe there's snow. So if we're plowing, keep your cars off the road, please. If it's snowing, keep your cars off the road. If I got a few complaints about people getting snow in their driveways. Sorry, people, but that's going to happen. That's just a part of living in the Northeast and living around here. We can only put the snow certain places. The roads have to be cleared, and you're responsible for clearing your driveway. We don't like to push it there, but we have no choice. Mailboxes, yes, we've hit a few mailboxes, and if they are damaged beyond repair, we do have some at the highway garage that we replace damaged or broken mailboxes. But we got 4 of the big trucks were down in the big storm. Our larger trucks, the tandem, 2 single axles, and the big 4-wheel drive that does Laurel Ridge. 3 of the 4 are up and running again, thanks to Joe Dunko. And hopefully they keep moving ahead. That's about it. That's what we got going.
Just to add, Rob, obviously you guys are out there, and I live in Laurel Ridge, and I think you guys are on it all the time. Also, remember to shovel out the fire hydrants if they're in front of your house, of which I have one. And it's my civic responsibility to shovel it, and I do it. And that's part of, like you said, Rob, living in the Northeast. But when you have a fire, you're going to be happy that somebody shoveled out that fire hydrant. And I could speak firsthand about that.
we do get around to do them. Unfortunately, we haven't been around to get them yet because we've still been clearing sidewalks, intersections, and opening roads since the big storm. Kind of got caught up with all of that today. And so will be the next thing on our list is drains and fire hydrants. Yes, it is.
But I'd just like to urge anyone who has one in front of the house, please, do your duty and get it cleared. Thank you. Okay.
Right.
Marissa
Yeah.
Dolbaum. Thank you, Rob, and thanks to your crew for always doing their best.
All right. Thank you. All right. I'm going to mute myself.
Marissa.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just want to echo on the urgent alert and the Nixle. Dave brought up a good point. You go on our website, and anyone that needs help navigating, I know we do have a new website, so I'm happy to help anyone with that. But you can subscribe to e-alerts, and one of those options is the urgent notices, just to make sure that you don't miss anything that happens. And there's also an option to sign up for that Nixle alert as well. So like I said, if anyone needs help with that, I can walk them through that or sign them up if they would like me to. Another update on the COVID vaccine. I sent an email out earlier. I was on the New York State website and I noticed on there that it had Westchester with available appointments. A few residents alerted me they did try. They weren't able to get an appointment. So I don't know if the New York State website wasn't updated or if those appointments are just going that quickly. But I do go on there almost every day. So if I see anything, I try just to pass it along. And Orange County does have a sign up form on their website. It does specify it's not to obtain an appointment, but it's to register with the county essentially, so they can pass on information as they get it. Again, if anyone needs assistance with that, I'm happy to help them. They can come in the office. I have a computer right at the window. I can help them sign up, or they can call the office and I can sign them up as well if they need assistance. And that's all for tonight.
Thank you. Public comments. Is that where we're at, Michelle?
Yes. General public comments. Let me just make sure.
I see Miss
Everybody's allowed to.
Elise Glover Fuller has a public comment. I'm not sure. I think she's
Okay.
listed.
Elise, if you could unmute yourself.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I apologize if any of this is repetitive. My connection was going in and out when you were discussing the boil water advisory earlier, and I had prepared some comments and questions regarding that. I would like to thank especially the Tuxedo Park DPW for taking care of the matter so quickly, and anybody else who was involved. And I'd also like to thank Marissa Dolbaum for sending out the notice on our town clerk email list. That's the only reason that my family knew about this particular incident, the boil water advisory. And along those lines, I do have some broader comments and questions about these water main breaks and our water quality here in the hamlet, because this is not the first incident that we have had with water main breaks. First, you spoke to it a bit, but, oh, excuse me. You spoke to it a bit, but by signing up for that Nixle alert system, we understood that this type of issue would be communicated through that. And I didn't hear exactly what everybody was saying about that system and who has access to it. I'm sorry, my internet was going in and out, but that system, the reverse 911 system, my family would have assumed that those would be used for a boil water advisory. That's an emergency situation. All manner of means of communication should be used for something like that. I would also like to know why this particular water main break resulted in a boil water advisory. We've had many over the years, many in my neighborhood. And I think this is the first one that has resulted in a boil water advisory. The others have been no different. We lost pressure. And that's the risk. There's risk of contamination when pressure is lost. That was the reason given for the boil water advisory. That happens every time. Why this one and not the others? And regarding the sheer number of these water main breaks, we experience them all the time in the hamlet. I've lived here since 2005. We have them, I'm on average at least once a year, if not more. We have had 4 incidents since July alone. 4 in my neighborhood. Where is this issue on the town's priority list? Replacing this system is what's needed. The pipes are aging. Yes, the water mains are aging. Now, if the excuse is, well, it costs a lot of money, well, what is that saying to those of us, the 800, 900 hamlet residents who are dependent upon this supply? Where is it on the town's list of priorities? And I do apologize for any repetition again. My internet was going in and out. And I would appreciate any answers to questions, any comments about where the town lies with this. Thank you.
Ken, I'm going to respond because she was having problems. We talked about the Nixle. Thank you, Elise, for your comment. Yeah, I'm the one who operates Nixle. Somehow I was left with that task explicitly. And we talked about how we're going to share that out now. The police, I mean, we shouldn't be having this conversation at this point in the game, but we are, unfortunately. So we're going to share, we're going to try to communicate better with the village and have them use our Nixle. That kind of answers your second question. The entire distribution system that the hamlet uses is owned or operated by Tuxedo Village. So we don't really have, it's not a budget line. We don't have it as a tax district, I don't think, right, Michelle?
You're right.
Paid for.
By water fees that are sent out from the village water system. So right, Jay? I mean,
yeah, that system is owned and maintained by the village of Tuxedo Park, not the town of Tuxedo.
So Elise, yes, we're going to do much more better in the Nixle, use of Nixle. Basically, I'll take the brunt of that problem as being the single point of success or failure the past few months. But there is a learning curve to it, which I plan on doing some training with the police this week, as a matter of fact. And then Maria May and Jay Reichcott on the town board will also have access to it as well. So you should see a lot more response in the near future. But thank you for your comments and questions.
One more thing I'd like to just comment on with respect to some of those questions, as for example, is why this break is treated differently than other breaks. The town's not in a position to know that. That's a very good question, and you really should take that up with the village board.
Right. And I speak with John Ledwith, who is the code official and sort of point person for a lot of these things in the village, and I will mention these concerns to him and see if we can get some answers, or at least make sure that they are paying attention.
Yeah, and on the sewage side, this is what the Tuxedo Farms LDC, Local Development Corporation, by default being town supervisor, I'm the president of that. You know, we're working really hard to try with our town attorney, with Jay and Michelle are both on this board with me, to try to move forward the sewer end of that. And that's why I was asking Jay how much overlap is there between the water supply and the sewage. I'm sure there's a lot of overlap, but I don't know exactly how that works. But you know, Tuxedo is a hodgepodge of water and sewer. I live in Laurel Ridge, and we deal with Suez for both water and sewer. Some people, like Maria May, live in a part of town that's serviced by septic and wells. I mean, it's just all over the place. The Woodlands has their own systems, and you know, there is no one system for Tuxedo. So it's a hodgepodge, and some of the pipes are 60 years old, and some of the pipes are well over a century. And so, yeah, it is a real concern, and I would want you to understand that this town board definitely takes it seriously, and we're learning as we go too. This is a very complicated puzzle. And
I think
go ahead.
I think one more wrench. So Howard, specifically the water company within the village confines is a transportation corporation, correct?
No,
No? Okay.
no. The village of Tuxedo Park owns its water system. It's the owner operator.
That doesn't have its own incorporation. Okay, thanks for that. So what I want to propose is, yeah, I think we're all aware of this. I remember watching 2 houses burn down because the water mains collapsed over in the circle a few years ago. These questions aren't going away. Is there any way we could form a liaison with the village board over this matter, Ken?
I'm open to building the knowledge. I mean, it also wraps around this LDC of the sewer. We have a sewer district that's taxed by the users there, but we don't have a reserve to possibly replace all of the sewer lines, which we all know, they don't last forever. So, this is a complicated problem. We did raise the sewer rates this last year, just anticipating these kind of challenges, not to be punitive, but to be proactive, to make sure that we have ways to deal with these problems in the future. And we are negotiating with the related group to try to make sure that this new sewer plant comes online. But no, these are long-term problems that need to be faced by every town board. But to your question, Dave, absolutely. Anything that could help raise awareness and get a long-term plan to see how this is going to be.
Even to the point of a better communication. And as Elise pointed out there, we should make it a priority to try to work with the village a lot closer with this particular matter, just so we can open a better line of communication when stuff like this happens. And Elise cited several, incidents where we probably did have reason for boil water advisories and we were never communicated to. So yeah, so I'm willing to step into that role as well, if anybody wants to join me.
I believe from the comments that I believe that Camille O'Brien from Martucci's office wants to make a comment.
Oh, great. Go ahead, Camille.
I didn't know I wanted to make a comment.
Oh, okay.
With the messages, I didn't realize somebody sent me a private message asking for my email, and I just replied to everyone.
Oh, okay. No, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I looked at the wrong order. Sorry about that. Okay.
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you.
Quite all right.
Dale Matola has 2 questions. Go ahead, Dale. You can just let's see. You are able to unmute yourself, Dale.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My first question is related to the presentation by our waste management company a couple of months ago, going over what is allowed and not allowed to be put in recycling. And specifically that glass is not allowed to be put into recycling. She suggested that we can still recycle glass, but we would have to take it to a county facility. And I'm sure everyone is aware that none of those are close to us, and that is not likely to happen. I happen to prefer things in glass containers than plastic, so I have a lot of glass. And I really hate putting it into the regular garbage, and I don't know whether there's anything the county might be able to do for us, putting a bin down closer to us that we could bring our glass recycling to, so that glass could actually get recycled.
I'm glad you brought that up. The Climate Smart Community Task Force is looking at this, and tomorrow I have a call, and we are going to be bringing in to IWS. Maria May and I also spoke with the woman there. What's her name, Maria?
Oh gosh. Oh, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. Anyway, so she had given us some options, and I think between the recycling efforts from Climate Smart and Maria and I talking with this woman,
Marissa
we'll
Kellerhouse.
be
Yeah,
bringing.
Marissa Kellerhouse. There it is.
I
Thank you,
thought it was Marissa.
Marissa.
Yeah.
Marissa too.
Anyway, we'll be moving forward and trying to engage IWS in an educational piece, Dale, that, we all recycle stuff and we're really good about it. And does it really get recycled? I think it's something that a lot of people want to know, plus find out solutions for glass is a big issue.
Oh,
I agree.
I can add something. So because when we talked to Marissa last time, she said, "Oh, we misunderstood. We can recycle glass. It's in our contract." I have to tell you what I've been doing. So I try to put all the glass stuff in a box, like one of the paper, cardboard boxes, whatever. I try to put them there as much as I can. And then, so that the problem is that when it breaks, it contaminates other things. But if they're all inside one spot, then, it'll just contaminate that one little box, that one box. Because I also use a lot of glass in terms of, I like glass things as opposed to, plastic or cans. So, I've been doing that. They have, I don't know if this is safe, but at least it's not ruining everything else that is paper so that they can recycle it. So,
however, if that isn't effective at the other end, if they are not doing something, to recycle that glass, it's probably still just going in the garbage. So I think it is worth finding out how we can really do this where it's truly recycled and not just mixed in with regular waste.
I'll go.
Recycle it. I'm sorry.
Sorry, finish.
I think they do recycle it. The problem is not in the recycling. They can recycle glass. The problem with them is because it's a single stream, it gets broken, and so they get more money from recycling the paper goods. So so it's not that they're not recycling glass, it's that the glass is messing up the paper goods, cardboard and things like that they can recycle. So that is the problem. I think that they do recycle glass. I'm sorry, that's it. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, you're correct. The issue is that broken glass makes the cardboard not recyclable. But I think there's a larger issue here. We have a contract with these people to recycle glass and paper and plastic and all the rest of it. And while I appreciate that they have trouble recycling glass, etc., they got hired to a contract, and so they're supposed to be collecting glass. They should be collecting glass. And so the question is not what do we have to do to recycle the glass? The question is, what are they going to do to service their contract?
Yes.
Yeah, even if it means another collection container to separate the glass from the other recyclables.
Sure. I'm open to any suggestion. I mean, I live in the park and we have a different waste hauler. And our recycling has a separate container for paper for that same reason. That's not the way that this company chooses to do it. That's okay. We didn't tell them how to do it. They just need to do what they've been contracted to do, and they need to tell us how they're going to do it.
We talked to them about maybe alternating. 1 week would be single stream and the next week would be glass. That was one thing. We could talk about it more if we want to do that, and if people would, follow it.
Yeah,
It
one
would be
week would
hard
be
to know
paper,
what week is it. It would be
one
hard.
week would be paper and cardboard, and the next one would be commingled, which means plastic cans and glass. That was one of their ideas. But again, like Jay said, though, is that that's not what they promised to take everything. I combed through our contract, and it absolutely says that they will recycle glass. So it is, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not sure that I want to keep my stuff for 2 weeks before it can get recycled. So I don't know. We are working with them, but it's just, it's hard to do with COVID and meeting with them and so on.
Okay, well, I hope the problem is solved sometime soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Dale.
My second question is to ask what the status is of the left turning lane on northbound 17 into Duck Cedar Plaza. Haven't heard about that for a while.
Yeah, that's because the Department of Transportation just says that it's up to the property owner to pay for it, and that there might not be enough room on the right side of the road because that's owned by the railroad. I mean, it just.
So they'd rather
go back, but
have people die in traffic accidents there.
You don't want to hear what they said.
Okay, so I'm going to go. So Camille.
Yes.
So Senator, are you listening?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will bring you up to speed on efforts with the Department of Transportation on this issue.
Okay.
We could put a fire on it.
Sure. Oh,
no, that's it.
I was actually taking notes on the glass recycling.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That's great.
Oh, did I miss an intro to the next topic? I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll bring
traffic death. Traffic death, and it's your highway department's fault.
It's on the Department of Transportation, the state.
Oh,
trying to work with them.
I'm not quite understanding.
That's okay. I'll send you the background.
All right, because actually previously I worked for the Assemblyman in Brooklyn, where a lot of people were getting doored into traffic lanes off of their bikes. So I've actually had a lot of experience with that, if that is actually the topic you talked about.
Not exactly. There's a turn lane that we would like to see on Route 17 that's kind of stalled. So
a turning lane on 17. Okay, yeah, if you could send me the
Michelle
info.
will send you the details, and then maybe you guys can see what you can do to give us some love.
Absolutely. He's the bus guy, right? Okay, sure.
Okay. But thanks for bringing that up again, Dale.
Figured I'd try to keep it alive.
Thank you.
I see that Mr. Salzer made the comment that when the truck comes to pick up my garbage and recyclables, it all gets put into the same truck. I have observed the same thing.
Yeah, I think that what we're trying to do with the Climate Smart Committee and what Maria and I are trying to do with IWS is to really find out, what really happens when we go through all this trouble of separating and hoping that we're recycling. Is everything truly getting recycled, and how do we know that?
Yeah.
But the other thing I'm going to say also, if this is regularly happening, everybody's got a camera in their phone, get some video of the garbage and the recycling going into the same truck, because then we can bring that to the waste hauler and say, no, we're not making this up. See?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
what they have said to us is that it is the same truck, but it's not at the same time. So I know that in Southfield,
Not true.
not true. Okay.
That goes to my point.
Problem with, yeah.
Get me something to work with here, and we'll go after him.
Okay.
I mean, I know there's only one truck and there's only one bin that I have for recycling. So that's my notion of when they describe single stream. It's one bin, one truck, one collection.
No, I'm talking about the bin that contains the regular garbage and the bin that contains the recyclables just both get dumped into the same truck. One right after the other.
Oh, okay. And in Laurel Ridge, I definitely see two separate trucks.
Yeah, I've seen two separate trucks, but she told us that there was one operator that had been doing that and that he was disciplined. So I don't know if this is this, Dale, did you see this recently? Or is this something that happened a while back?
Fairly recently, although I haven't watched for the past couple of months, but I will watch again.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, because she said there was one operator who had been doing that and he had been disciplined and wasn't supposed to do it anymore. I know that the person that collects here, usually I've seen two trucks go by, and I was working from home, so I actually saw them making two different trips.
I didn't know whether the fact that it's a fairly narrow dead-end street that I live on was the cause of that, but
maybe.
But again,
this is Hank Salzer. This has been happening all the time. As long as I've been looking out the window when the truck comes. My neighbor and I filled two bins, one with recyclables and one with regular garbage. And then we were told not to put glass, but it all goes in the same truck anyway. And then it gets compressed, which would break the glass. So that's why we don't put it with the recyclables. But the garbage goes in with the glass, with the recyclables, and all gets crushed together. And it's not just recent. It's quite a while.
Hank, is your pickup done by an automated truck or is it done by manual? A guy gets off the truck and
guy gets off the truck.
So I think that's where you have that issue. In Laurel Ridge, we have two separate trucks. They're both automated, and I know they're two different trucks. They literally come. One passes and then the next one comes.
Okay, but again,
I understand your point, Jeff.
They got a job to do.
I got it. This seems like the problem that Dale and Hank are both articulating is when the guy gets off the truck. Yeah, he just grabs one can and then the next can. Clearly, they're sending one truck to your part of town, and
correct.
Not what we're paying for.
Right. Exactly.
So thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, we'll continue, and as Jay said, we'll collect pictures. Any other public comments? We have two more new items that were added. If anybody wants to jump in after we do that, it's okay. Okay, so one is a resolution to approve board members' annual training with the Association of Towns, which is, I think it starts on the 15th. And at the last meeting, we approved the town clerk going, and now would any board member want to attend? I like to go.
I like to go also.
Okay.
I'd like to point out this is a remote training, minimal expense. Of course, any town board member who's schedule can accommodate this, and absolutely should be encouraged to attend. So I'd make a motion that the town board authorizes board members to attend the annual training held remotely by the Association of Towns. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded
Michelle.
by Michelle Lindsay. Any discussion? I would expect no. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Dave McMillan,
Aye.
Maria May,
Aye.
Jay Reichcott,
Aye.
Michelle Lindsay,
Aye.
and myself, Ken English. Aye. See you at the training. Wonderful. Any
Now,
other new business?
Yeah, the only other item, maybe you can explain how this originated, where it came from. The resolution of the town board naming all highway department employees as first responders.
Okay, so this was submitted to me by Robert Dobom, and we're challenged to get our workers inoculated, with the COVID virus. These are guys that are working in close proximity, and I think they cited a number of the evidence as to what set the precedent that these workers are considered first responders. They respond to, I think, traffic accidents at times. So I'll defer to Howard Trotter. I don't know if Howard got a chance to review that, but that's the general notion behind this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read the proposed resolution. It is authorized under the law. I checked the law, and it is authorized. And this is also consistent with the emergency preparedness plan that we discussed recently and submitted to the unions, where we said that the highway department personnel perform an important public safety role during emergencies. And so I see that it's consistent with that as well. So, it's been around for a long time. It's not a new viewpoint. I think it's become more topical now because of, as the supervisor said, because of the issue of it enables these highway workers to get potentially inoculated sooner than they may otherwise be.
I mean, you can see with all the snowstorms that we've been inundated with. I mean, we need these guys out and up and running. That's I'd like to see it happen.
Would you like to make the motion?
I would. I'd like to make a motion. I don't have the exact wording of this resolution in front of me. I think
Do we need to, well, let's see. Do we want to read the whole thing or just?
Oh no, I do have it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you could just summarize it and just indicate that, under the law, the first responders, the term by its very nature refers to highway service personnel who are responsible for maintaining the safe passage along the roadways and highways of the state. And that this was recognized under the Homeland Security Act and since 2002.
2003. I'm looking at it. Yeah, and 2002 as well. Yes, Howard. So yeah, and then the resolution ends. Resolved that the town of Tuxedo Town Board designates and recognizes all employees of the highway department as first responders. And I'd like to make a motion to adopt this resolution. Is it yeah, it's a resolution. And do I have a second on this?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Maria May. Any discussion? Any concerns from anybody on the
My,
town
my
board?
only question is why this wasn't already done, or
I guess, this is this new urgency, Michelle, that,
okay. Yeah, no, it's fine.
that would be my guess on that one. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think people needed that formal declaration. These guys have been responding. But now we're really trying to get them inoculated. So that's my take on it. Educated guess. Any other discussion?
That's it for me. Just curious.
I'm seeing we got this high sign here. All right, Dave. All right, so I'm going to take a roll call vote. I'm going to start with Deputy Supervisor Michelle Lindsay.
Aye.
Dave McMillan. Dave McMillan, did you say yes? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm going to mute. Aye.
No worries. Coming to you, Maria. Maria May.
Aye. Aye.
Jay Wright Scott.
Aye.
And Ken English. Aye. Passed unanimously. Get your shots, guys. Get out there. We need you. We want you responding.
Now they can get in line.
Get in line. Yeah, exactly. Right next to me. I checked several boxes, and I haven't even come close to getting an appointment yet. So, God bless us all. What's next? Anything else? New business?
A favorite of us all.
Maria May is becoming our expert adjourner. I'm going to give her that privilege once again.
Thank you. All right, so I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 10:21 p.m. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Okay. Dave McMillan. Jay Rajcott.
Aye.
Michelle Lindsay.
Aye.
Kenneth English.
Aye. Quick
May. Aye. All right, folks.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Maria. And thank you, Howard. And thank you all for coming out who attend these meetings. We really do appreciate it. And thank you for showing your civic support by coming out. I really appreciate it. Thank you.